Hello, it's Christina. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how I transformed my prom dress that I thrifted. This is the before picture, sorry it's not on, and this is after, and some of my prom pictures. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about the materials that I used. I used scissors, tulip color shot spray, and I used the large cans, and yellow, orange, pink, purple, blue, and shimmer. I don't know exactly what fabric my dress is, it didn't say on it, but it didn't make my dress stiff at all, and you can get this at Michael's or Joann's. You'll also need pins, a ruler, a sewing machine, and yellow thread, or just a pin and thread if you want to hem by hand, a prom dress, or just a dress in general, and a hanger and rope, and someplace big so that you can spray, and gloves and a mask are optional. So the first thing I did was hem my dress, but if you don't need to, I'll put the time down at the bottom that you can skip to. I was going to wear Converse to the prom, so I had to hem my dress or else it was going to be too long, and I got my Aunt Betty to help. Honestly, it's a lot easier with two people, and basically what she just did is pin the bottom of the dress up to the top, really wherever it was, to make sure that it was even all the way around, which was probably the most difficult thing. Then after that, I took out all the pins and put them on the inside, measuring about 2 inches away from the bottom of the dress, and put that all along the bottom. Make sure that you pull tight so that it's even. It just makes the next step a lot easier. So after you do that, you're going to get a pair of scissors and cut along the entire dress. And you want to save this piece of fabric so that you can test out your fabric dyes on it to see how they react, and also maybe if you want to put it in the wash later, and also to measure about how far and how tall you want everything to be. So it's super important that you save this piece. And then after you do that, you can skip this step if you don't care about the raw edge showing underneath, but I wanted it to look clean. So what I did was removed the pins again and folded over that little piece of fabric so that it was a straight edge. And I put the pins super close to the edge. You can also use this as a guideline when you're sewing. It just makes your life easier. And it was about the width of my ruler, so I just used that as a rough estimate. It didn't have to be perfect. Then after that, I went in with my sewing machine and I just used a straight stitch along the entire edge. I would use a medium stitch, and if you have some bubbling by the time that you're done stitching, meaning that it's kind of like a little wavy, I would go in with an iron to straighten it out, because that's what I had to do with mine. Now we get to dive into the fun part. I would recommend putting gloves and mask on at this point if you want, because it can get super messy. First we went with a light coat of blue at the bottom, and then I used the scrap fabric as a measure as to how high I wanted to spray the yellow all around the top. Then I went in with the purple towards the bottom, and alternating colors made spacing a lot easier in general. And then I did a coat of orange more underneath the yellow, and then in the center I did a pink. And I was following the tulip instructions, and you have to wait 5 minutes in between the coats. So after I did my first coat of all the colors, I went in and I did my second coat. I followed the same pattern and I did the blue, yellow, purple, orange, pink one more time, and that worked perfectly for me. By the time I was done with the second coat, I was about running out of dye in the cans, so it really worked out perfectly. Off camera, I cut off the back ties and I sprayed those blue, and I ran out of fabric dye, so then I went over it with purple, and it turned out really good and I really liked it. Then I went in and I sprayed with the shimmer all on the top, and I did a few coats of that, waiting 5 minutes in between as well. And here's just a close-up of my dress. It looked super wonderful in the sunlight. I'm sorry for that little light blob in the middle. I'm not really sure what was wrong with my camera, but just try to ignore it. So I had 4 strings, and I cut one of them into 2-inch pieces, and I made those 2-inch pieces into 6 little loops throughout the back of the dress, and I kind of guesstimated as to where to put them, and I measured with a ruler a little bit so they were about the same distance apart, but it really wasn't perfect. I just put the pins straight through either side of the loop, and I made the 2 edges touching each other rather than on top of each other. And then after that I went in with my sewing machine, and this was probably the hardest part of the whole project. I really struggled on this. I used the second stitch on my sewing machine, which is 3 simple stitches, basic stitches next to each other, and I just went back and forth a few times on every single one of the loops, and it really worked. It held up all night and it felt pretty sturdy. So then after sewing all of those on, I sewed 2 of the strings together to make a long string to basically like tie up the corset piece. Then after lacing it up, you are done. And I'm just going to throw in some shots of me in the dress one more time to show off the final product. And I am so happy with how it turned out. I hope you enjoyed this DIY. Please subscribe and like and share this video with your friends. If anybody like recreates it, show me those posts. I'll be posting more of my prom pictures on social media, which are all linked down below. I really appreciate you guys' support, and sorry it was so long from my last video, but I hope you guys enjoyed it and I hope it was worth the wait. There's more things coming, so please subscribe. Bye!